Lost Sanctuary R is the next structure deck in the OCG, and as such, I'm going to be doing a review of it. For people who don't know what a structure deck R is, it's basically just a modernized structure deck of a past one they've released, such as the old Lost Sanctuary back in 2010. I'm just going to be looking at mostly just the new cards. I'll look at the reprint at the end. I just want to mainly look at the new cards and see how much they help, or if they're not of any help to the deck, and kind of explain the effects and some of the interactions that the deck has. I'm not going to be like reading every line of text from the cards. I'll just kind of give you a brief summary of it because I would normally read the text of the cards when I review them. However, because there's so many here, I think it would just take too long, and I don't think people want to watch such a long video. There are two questions I want to propose. Is whenever I kind of look at a product and old legacy support, there are kind of two questions I usually ask. One, is the support good? And two, was it what they needed? Having good support and getting support what the deck actually needs are two completely different things. Some decks need certain cards in order to be better, I guess, or more functionable. However, you can just give them generic good support that doesn't address the problem that will still make them better. This is one of the two things I want to look at. The biggest problem that the agents have is that they are way too normal summon reliant and they are inconsistent. They really, really rely on their normal summon, and they don't have many ways to special summon monsters. And the fact that they are very inconsistent, they didn't have enough searchers outside of Earth until now. So let's take a look at the cards and see if they address these problems. The first card is a level 10 Synchro Master Flare Hyperion. He can copy any agent monster or any monster that lists Sanctuary, the Sanctuary in the Sky in its text by sending it from your hand deck, extra deck to the graveyard, which is really good because Venus is the best play starter in this deck. However, getting to Venus was always really difficult in this deck because if you didn't hard draw the Venus, the only way to search it was with Earth. However, Earth uses your normal summon, so you had to wait a turn. You couldn't special summon it from the hand because you didn't have an agent to do that, so that was really bad. Master Flare Hyperion really, really helps because now if you don't open the Venus, you have ways to access your Venus if you don't hard draw it, because you can use things like Diviner of Herald, because that is a one card Master Flare Hyperion. You can use Earth plus Majesty Hyperion or Master Hyperion, so that's another play which is really good. The second effect, being able to banish a fairy and then target a card in the field, banish it, is it's fine. I just don't like its effect mainly because the fact that you have to reply specifically to opponent's card or effect basically means if there's something you want to negate, you have to pick, do you want to banish or do you want to negate? And I don't really like that. I just kind of wish it would just let you banish, but maybe that would be too strong if you could just banish it whenever you banish a card in your opponent's field whenever you want. Overall, the second effect won't come up much. It's mainly the first effect. Sometimes you'll have to use him as link material, so he won't be able to stick around. That's not a problem, because the main thing that this does is give you Venus, which is another play starter, which is really good. Overall, this is one of the best cards in the structure deck. It's really, really good. The next monster is the Agent of Life Neptune. You can discard him from your hand to special summon one agent from your hand or graveyard, and when he's banished, he lets you add one the Sanctuary in the Sky from your deck to your hand, which is really nice. I said for the longest time this is what agents really needed. They needed another main deck monster that was impactful. Before, the really only good agent monsters that we had were Earth and Venus, which was really, really sad. The issue with it is because you would search the Venus with Earth, but you couldn't summon the Venus that you searched the same turn because you already used your normal summon. However, this fixes it because being able to special summon from the hand or graveyard is really nice because you can just send this to the graveyard, special summon the Venus from your hand, and then keep your plays going. Or if you want to use it in an extender later, you can just bring something back from the graveyard. And the fact that he searches the Sanctuary in the Sky is really, really nice because this is the best way to search it because you don't have to do additional stuff. He'll already be in the graveyard because you're using him for the first effect, and the second effect is just bonus, which is really, really nice. Overall, this card is phenomenal. This and Master Flare Hyperion is what really made the structure deck good. Majesty Hyperion is another new monster here. He can be special summoned from the hand or graveyard by banishing one agent from the hand, field, or graveyard. So he's very easy, however he's a hard once per turn. So unlike Master Hyperion, if you had multiple of those, you can just special summon them all. He banishes a fairy from the hand or graveyard, then target one card in the graveyard, banish it. You can use it twice if you have Sanctuary in the Sky on the field or graveyard. This card's fine. The effect to bring him back from the graveyard is really what makes him good. Other than that, there's really nothing other than that that's really too good. Special summon from the graveyard is nice because you can send it with the new agent link monster, but other than that, it's just a pretty good card. Not as good as Master Flare Hyperion or Neptune, but still a decent card. The Sacred Water in the Sky lets you activate the Sanctuary in the Sky direct from your deck, or add one monster that's specifically listed in its text from your deck to your hand. The reason why they do this and they don't let you add any agent monsters is because you could add any agent monster, you can just add Venus, because Venus doesn't specifically list the Sanctuary in the Sky. They worded it specifically like that, so you'd have to go the Earth route and then get Venus that way with Neptune, because I think they were just worried about giving you a one-card play starter that, because getting 4 monsters with one card is kind of really, really strong, so I understand that. And it has a graveyard effect that's kind of irrelevant. If a monster that lists a Sanctuary in the Sky in this text would be destroyed by battle, you can banish this card instead. That's really not too useful. It's really the first effect, because now this can grab Earth, and if you have Venus already, Earth can grab Neptune, and then you start your plays going that way, which is really strong. Overall, this card's really good. It's a staple 3-up. Next card is a card that I reviewed not too long ago. It's Lost Sanctuary. Its name becomes the Sanctuary in the Sky while in the field or graveyard, and when it's activated, it lets you set one Sanctuary in the Sky or a card that's specifically listed in this text directly from your deck, which is pretty nice. The fact that it treats itself as Sanctuary in the Sky doesn't really matter. You'll always have Sanctuary access because of Neptune, so that's not too great. Being able to set a spell and trap is pretty nice, because you can set something like the Sacred Water in the Sky or Divine Punishment, but you can't use it the turn it was set, which is pretty disappointing. But the last effect is a really good one. Banish a fairy from the grave to target an effect monster your opponent controls. Negate its effects until the end of the turn. That's really, really good, because it gives them... It's kind of like a 2-for-1. It gives you a monster negation, like once per turn. You can keep recycling that, which is actually really nice, because you can do it your turn and your opponent's turn. And being able to set a card that specifically lists a Sanctuary in the Sky is nice, because you have a lot of options. The only downside is you can't activate the card the turn it was set. Other than that, this card's great. The fact that it gives you a continuous monster negation once per turn is amazing, because monster effects are so strong in the game. Being able to constantly negate it for free is just awesome. This card is really, really good too. The next monster up is the Guard of the Ancient Moon. When it's Link Summon, it lets you Foolish a Sanctuary, or a monster that lists that card in this text, or you can add Earth from your graveyard if you have the Sanctuary in the field or the graveyard. That's not too good, being able to add Earth, because Earth is kind of useless. You don't really want to play resource management in this game. That's not really what they do. The best effect is definitely sending Majesty Hyperion into the graveyard to bring him back. That's really the best use that I found for him. I really wish this was a Link 1 instead of a Link 2. I kind of understand if it was a Link 1, maybe it'd be too good. However, at the same time, it being a Link 2 is I guess it's okay. This is a pretty decent card. The last effect doesn't really come up ever, distributing a fairy to pop a card. I've never used that effect in my time of playtesting with this deck. Yeah, this card's also quite decent. Could have been better, could have been worse. It's very decent, I would say. Chorus in the Sky is another card that I briefly touched upon a few days ago. You pay 1,000, target a fairy in the graveyard to add it to your hand, and if you have the Sanctuary Sky on the field or in the graveyard, you can add a banished monster that lists that card in this text to your hand. The effect to add a fairy is actually pretty good. However, it's a resource management game, so I don't know if you would specifically want to use this card. I think something like Sacred Water being a searcher is a lot better. This card isn't bad, but it's just... I would say it's I don't really want to open this, I would much rather see other cards like Neptune and the Sacred Water in the Sky over this, because getting back a fairy won't be really too useful. The only one that you can use that isn't a hard one to return is Master Hyperion, and yeah, other than that, there's really nothing good to grab. And if you can't use the first effect, the second effect, what's that going to do for you? Overall, this is a kind of whatever card. It's probably one of the worst ones in the wave of support. The last card is the Executor of Hades Pluto. I really like this card. Unfortunately, it's not very good. It's basically a Book of Moon if you have... it's basically a Book of Moon, and if you have the Sanctuary in the Sky on the field or grave, it becomes a quick effect, which is, pretty nice. However, that's, because it's Master Rule 4 and higher, Book of Moon effects aren't that great, because Link monsters exist, so it would be a lot better if he, just negate a monster effect, but, what can you do? And then you can banish him from the grave to add the Sanctuary in the Sky. Neptune overshadows this card, just because Neptune is just so much better. It's so much easier just to get Neptune banished to get a search than this. So yeah, this card's really bad, which is really sad, because I think it's really cool that they finally gave Pluto. I was wondering if they would make a Pluto monster, and they did. We touched on all the new cards, so let's get into some of the reprints. Giving me multiple Shine Balls is nice. Christie is really good. Vanity's really, cool too. Artifact Lantia is really, really good. Herald, Eva, lots of really good reprints. Nibiru. Overall, this structure gives you a lot of nice things. There's also Desires, Regeki, Harpies, Feather Duster. They give you a lot of really nice things in the structure deck. And one of the nicest things I think they did in the structure deck is, if you actually look at all the new cards in the structure deck are actually foils, which is something they used to not do before. If you take a look at something like the Dragoonie structure deck, there are some cards that were not foiled, that were new cards, but they gave foil slots to the reprints, which didn't really make much sense to me. Phalanx is super in that structure deck. Yeah, Remus, Glow, and Draft are all their normal parallel rares, which doesn't make any sense, especially Remus and Glow, because they're so insane. They should have definitely been foils. So that's why I think it's really nice how they're making all the new cards foils. All the new cards are foils plus Hyperion, so that's really, really cool in my opinion. This is something I hope they adopt into future structure decks, making all the new cards foil. So, like the really good cards like the Dragoonie structure deck, Remus and Glow can be foil, especially considering how strong they are. So, hopefully that they keep doing that in the structure decks. I really like those. So at the start of this review, I asked two questions. One, is the support good, and is it what they needed? To answer the first question, yes, the support is amazing. The fact that agents are like playable as a deck, like they have an actual direction they can head, is amazing. The support like Neptune, the Sacred Water, Master Flare Appearance are absolutely godlike cards, and they make they're just such high level cards that they make the deck actually good. And the second question, is this what this deck actually needed? Yes, they absolutely needed the consistency. They needed the power. They needed like things like Neptune. Like the support is very good. They absolutely fixed the normal summon problem, which before was like just like Earth and had not being able to summon the Venus in your hand. They fixed that. They fixed the consistency by giving you the Sacred Water and being able to get access to the Lost or the Sanctuary in the Sky thanks to Neptune. Overall, the structure deck is amazing. I just think it's really sad because we're probably not going to get this in the TCG.